And answers.
A special edition of the O'Reilly Factor. And
our disagreements will not divide us as nations.
But some say America's playing Russian roulette on the next Judith Regan tonight.
America is a country that has always had an open heart. Open arms. Now I think we have to have open eyes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Todd Connor, and here are the latest developments in the war on terror. Ousted President Burhanuddin Rabbani has returned to the city of Kabul and declared himself the rightful leader of Afghanistan. Rabbani was overthrown by the Taliban 5 years ago. He is said to be committed to creating a multi-ethnic state. The United Nations is renewing its call for an Afghan government that represents all of the country's tribes. UN Secretary General Kofi Annan says that a new government that's not accepted by everyone would be a problem in the future. A United Nations envoy has arrived in Kabul to discuss the issue with Northern Alliance leaders. The search for Osama bin Laden. Tonight there are conflicting reports as to where he may be. The Taliban envoy to Pakistan said earlier that bin Laden had left Afghanistan, but later modified his statement, saying bin Laden had left the area of the country still under Taliban control. U.S. officials believe the Taliban knows where bin Laden is hiding. An official with the Northern Alliance says troops have surrounded Kunduz, one of 2 remaining Taliban strongholds. The place is said to be under siege with thousands fighting to the death. Commanders have refused to abandon the other Taliban-ruled city, Kandahar. A reported deal with Taliban leaders to leave has apparently fallen through. And it looks like the New York City subway system is anthrax-free. Mayor Rudy Giuliani says tests conducted after the death of a Manhattan hospital worker have turned up no traces of the bacteria. Investigators still don't know how Kathy Wynn got infected with anthrax. We'll have another update coming your way at the top of the hour. The War on Terror with Bridget Quinn continues next. You're watching Fox News Channel, the most powerful name in news and the network America trusts for fair and balanced news. Stay tuned.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bridget Quinn. Nice to have you with us on this Saturday, November 17th. You're watching Fox News Channel's continuing coverage of the war on terror. And our top story, where in the world is Osama bin Laden? First, a Taliban envoy said that he left Afghanistan, but now he's changing his story. Fox News correspondent Amy Kellogg is in Islamabad, Pakistan, with the latest.
Mullah Zaif, the Taliban ambassador to Pakistan, said that he was misquoted, misunderstood, that there was a poor translation when he spoke to Al Jazeera TV, Bridget. Now, by this time, all of the reports over the past few days about Osama bin Laden slipping out of Afghanistan have been discounted by the Taliban, by the United States, and by Pakistan. But there is still a certain amount of fear, Bridget, that he might try to pull that off. And just a few days ago, we spoke to the interpreter for the Taliban ambassador here. The ambassador himself has been out of pocket. He's been to Kandahar, and now he's on his way back. But the interpreter said that a hardline Taliban commander by the name of Jaluluddin Haqqani was splitting from the Taliban and trying to drag the Arab fighters with him to the region where he's from, which is on the border with Pakistan. And if he did so, it's likely that Osama bin Laden would have to go with that group to the border region. Meanwhile, as the Northern Alliance continues to fight with the Taliban over a city in the northern part of Afghanistan, it appears to be consolidating its power, which is alarming to those who distrust the military and political organization. Pakistan warns this could be a recipe for civil war. Apparently, the Hazaras, now they are the Shiites, who claim to be direct descendants of Genghis Khan and are the closest group ethnically to Iran, have sent a defense force of hundreds to the outskirts of Kabul to try to protect their minority. This, as the Northern Alliance tells British forces who have arrived near Kabul, they will have to go, save for those on a humanitarian mission. British officials are seeking to calm the fears of the Northern Alliance. And Burhanuddin Rabbani, Afghanistan's last president, has gone to Kabul and declared himself head of state, though he has said that he plans to preside over a multi-ethnic government. But this contradicted earlier statements that he did not want to be reinstated as president of Afghanistan. This, Bridget, as various tribal leaders are declaring that they now control certain swaths of Afghanistan. Hamid Karzai is one that we'd heard a lot about. He'd gotten into trouble some weeks ago, and there were conflicting reports about whether the U.S. had choppered him out or not. He apparently says that he has part of the southern region of Afghanistan under his control, and apparently Jalalabad has all been sorted out. But the issue that remains and gets a lot of attention here is that experts say, Bridget, that there's really no one leader waiting in the wings who has the power and the authority to unite all of Afghanistan. We're live in Islamabad. Back to you, Bridget.
So, Amy, it sounds like clearly the buzz in Pakistan would then be that the Taliban's days are indeed numbered.
Well, that's right, but it's interesting. The Taliban embassy here remains open, and the Iranians have now reopened their embassy in Kabul, which sort of implies that they're recognizing the Northern Alliance. So although the Taliban's days are numbered, I think that there's still many days ahead that will be key in terms of determining where they go. I think it looks pretty clear that they've lost their grip on power, but they are vicious fighters, and they are known for retreating into the mountains and coming back. Granted, this time the borders are sealed and there's no superpower feeding the Mujahideen any weapons. So basically it's understood that at some point they would just run out of ammunition. But they are defiant, declaring that they haven't given up yet.
Well, Amy, about our military campaign, it sure seems that it is going to continue through Ramadan, and Pakistan's president hasn't liked that idea all that much. Has he had anything new to say about that?
No, he's been fairly diplomatic about it. As you know, Bridget, he's gone back and forth. There are times when he said he'd like to see the bombing campaign stop, but he understands the mission needs to be completed. And there are other times when he more forcefully says, depending on the audience, quite frankly, that it must be stopped. But we haven't heard anything new from him. We haven't heard him restate that. Ramadan has just begun, obviously, in this area, and it remains to be seen what sort of a fallout that will have as the bombing campaign continues. And another thing that's quite interesting here, sort of a buzz here in Islamabad, Bridget, is that I've heard that certain Pakistani diplomats have said that they feel quite betrayed that the United States did not stop the Northern Alliance from rushing into Kabul. No one has come out and said that on camera or in the newspapers, but secondhand reports of that being the case.
Interesting. Amy Kellogg, thank you, as always, in Islamabad. And back here on the home front, the Senate passes a new aviation security bill that should strengthen airline security. All that it needs now is the president's signature. Carl Cameron has a breakdown of the new bill.
The agreement would start an immediate federal takeover of airport security that Democrats had wanted.
We will be overhauling airline security and handing a victory to the American people.
Many conservative House Republicans opposed a complete federal takeover as an overreaction and wasteful expansion of government. House Speaker Dennis Hastert said the compromise involved letting airports opt out of federal security down the road.
We're going to see whether the private sector can best deliver this under federal supervision, or you have to have federal screeners.
A one-year transition to total federal control will begin as soon as the measure becomes law. For 2 years after that, all airports would have mandatory federal security. At the end of the third year, if an airport's security is federally certified and supervised, it could opt to use local law enforcement or private security instead. Part of the compromise is a pilot program that would allow 5 airports of various sizes to use private security or local law enforcement under federal supervision right now.
The first thing they will see is a much more significant federal presence in all airports. Secondly, you're going to see a lot more air marshals. This bill authorizes a lot more air marshals. Even though you probably can't see them, you'll know that they're there. Third, you're going to see reinforced doors on airplanes.
The Bush administration called it a victory for national security and congressional cooperation.
All the way around, I think both sides can claim, in terms of the House and Senate, can claim a win.
Both the House and Senate expect to pass the aviation security measure on Friday so it can get to the president's desk before Thanksgiving. The other pressing issue, economic stimulus, seems to have lost some of its urgency, with Senator Daschle saying the Senate won't even be in session next week, so the soonest it could be acted upon would be a week and a half from now. In Washington, Carl Cameron, Fox News.
Straight ahead, we'll talk about what's possibly hiding in Osama bin Laden's war chest and what can we do about it. Also, we'll be taking you to Crawford, Texas, where the president is spending the weekend. Is he getting any R&R, or is it all work? That report ahead on Fox News, your #1 name in news.
Highlander, bringing an unexpected bit of comfort to the rugged world of the SUV.
$28, $29, $30, $30.
Time is running out on our 30 mouthwatering shrimp for just $9.99. Mix and match tangy lemon pepper shrimp, delicious shrimp pasta, savory scampi, fried and more. Come in soon to Red Lobster and go overboard.
This is the time of the year we actually express our gratitude to family, friends, and colleagues, maybe even taking time to call an old friend we've lost touch with. At 1-800-Flowers.com, nothing makes us feel better than helping you to express yourself with warm seasonal gifts like this beautiful autumn celebration centerpiece. Of course, the holidays also mean delicious gourmet foods and fun for the child in all of us. Call, click, or come into 1-800-Flowers.com today. And thanks for letting us be a part of your holiday.
First of all, there's no question the Taliban is the most repressive, backward group of people we have seen on the face of the earth in a long period of time, including and particularly how they treat women.
President Bush at his ranch in Crawford, Texas this weekend. He's heard the Taliban claims that Osama bin Laden has fled Afghanistan. And meantime, the First Lady stepping up to a new role in the media today. Fox's James Rosen is in Texas with all the latest. James?
Good afternoon, Bridget. The White House is responding cautiously to those Taliban claims earlier today that Osama bin Laden has fled Afghanistan. A White House source tells Fox News, and I quote, "I am sure they have thought about possible escape routes, but we have no reason to believe bin Laden is anyplace else other than Afghanistan," unquote. In the meantime, a new offensive in this multi-front war has two women from the Bush administration, the First Lady and also the President's senior media strategist, assuming a center stage role in the information theater. Their first task is to focus the world's attention on harsh conditions for women and children under Taliban rule in Afghanistan. For the past 5 years, the White House says, Afghan women have been barred from leaving their homes themselves or even laughing out loud in public. And it's estimated 25% of Afghan children die by the age of 5 due to malnutrition and poor health care. And delivering the entire weekly radio address this morning, a first for any First Lady, Laura Bush sought to dispel any notion that the Taliban's treatment of women is somehow typical of Muslim societies.
Muslims around the world have condemned the brutal degradation of women and children by the Taliban regime. The poverty, poor health, and illiteracy that the terrorists and the Taliban have imposed on women in Afghanistan do not conform with the treatment of women in most of the Islamic world, where women make important contributions in their societies.
Now, helping to coordinate such messages is a 24-hour coalition information center located inside the White House complex. Similar operations exist in Pakistan and London. So if Allied press aides around the world need instant information on terrorist financing, ongoing criminal investigations, or humanitarian aid, this is where it comes from. There's even a desk devoted to combating Taliban disinformation dubbed the Catalog of Lies. And after leading reporters on a tour of this facility yesterday, White House media strategist Karen Hughes helped hammer home this message about women's plight under the Taliban.
The brutality and repression of women in Afghanistan is not a legitimate practice of religion, and we've had many Muslim leaders who have spoken out and said that in the Muslim faith women are respected, and in many Muslim countries women are professionals and work outside the home.
In weeks to come, Bridget, this White House theme team, if you will shine spotlights on different issues. One of the issues we'll see them shine a spotlight in the future is the Taliban's complicity in heroin trafficking in order to finance its now crumbling operations. Reporting live from Crawford, Texas, James Rosen, Fox News. Bridget?
And James, by the way, what was the president up to today?
Very little that we saw today, Bridget. However, he did sign some CRs, what are called CRs. Those are continuing resolutions. Essentially, they're budget agreements with the Congress that enable the federal government to continue functioning. We're told he signed a few of those today. Otherwise, we've not seen nor heard from the president since Thursday when he wrapped up his summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Bridget.
All right, James Rosen, thanks a lot, James. And so the repression of Afghan women getting a lot of attention all over the world. First Lady Laura Bush, as you just heard James report, giving the presidential radio address, focusing on the plight of women and children. Joining us today is Paula Dobriansky, Undersecretary of State for Global Affairs. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Why is it so important to get that message out?
Well, this is really a critical juncture at this time because the Taliban are on the run, as well as the al-Qaeda terrorist network in Afghanistan, and consequently, we are at a point where we are looking at next steps in terms of planning and reconstruction for the future of Afghanistan. So consequently, why this is critical is because women have been repressed by the Taliban, by the al-Qaeda network, and now is the time to take steps and to ensure that what we do now can bring about a change for them in the time ahead and for the future. In other words, basically because they have been so repressed by the Taliban and by the al-Qaeda network, this really affords us an opportunity to make everyone aware, not only our domestic audience, but also the international audience, and those who are going to be involved in planning the reconstruction of Afghanistan.
Ms. Dobriansky,
and we don't want to see this to happen again.
Right. You know, we've been mentioning that the First Lady Laura Bush talked about this in the weekly radio address, and want to play a soundbite of that. Here's a real illustration of how the Taliban treated women. Let's take a look.
Only the terrorist and the Taliban forbid education to women. Only the terrorist and the Taliban threaten to pull out women's fingernails for wearing nail polish. The plight of women and children in Afghanistan is a matter of deliberate human cruelty carried out by those who seek to intimidate and control.
Ms. Dobriansky, when I hear that, I'm always struck by the fact that the Taliban wasn't in there for all that long. I mean, these women knew a different life.
This is true. Well, when the Taliban came in and seized power in 1996, they began literally a policy of very brutal repression against women. Women were denied basic fundamental rights. As you heard Mrs. Bush state, no education, no opportunities for education. Women were not able to leave their homes unless they were accompanied by men. They also did not have the ability to secure health care or basic medical services. I mean, outright, women were absolutely repressed. And you know what's...
Do you think that now that it does seem, pardon me for interrupting, that the Taliban seems to be crumbling, that the women might somehow help rise up against the Taliban to help finish them off?
Well, you know what I was just about to say is I was going to say that looking at what they were subjected to and the fact that it was in stark contrast to what the kind of freedoms that the women had before. Many of them were professionals. Basically, many of them were medical doctors. A good portion worked in government and were in parliament. Some were academicians, journalists. And the point is they do have a very important role to play here. The administration strongly supports their role in the context of the planning and reconstruction process for the future of Afghanistan. So in that regard, yes, I would say that they do have a very important role to play in the future of Afghanistan.
Is there any way that, I don't know, this might sound strange, but the Taliban would have to pay for what they've done to women in that country?
You know, it's interesting that you asked that because just at the State Department on Friday, we met with a wide range of women opinion leaders representing different non-governmental organizations, literally across the political spectrum. And one of them, in fact, had said, and it was endorsed by all the other organizations, they said it was really important to look back at these human rights abuses and really to make sure that there is retribution, that punishment is meted out, that this cannot go without some kind of punishment.
Paula Dobriansky, Undersecretary of State for Global Affairs, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And straight ahead here on Fox News Channel, our continuing coverage of the war on terror. Osama bin Laden has bragged before that he has some nuclear weapons. Is he to be believed? We'll take a look. We'll be talking with a military analyst next here on Fox News Channel.
luxury car, the seating capacity of a minivan, capabilities of an SUV. All in one totally innovative package. Introducing the all-new Buick Rendezvous.
What? You're expecting Igor?
Buick Rendezvous. It's all good. Get interest-free financing on every new Rendezvous. Keep America rolling.
Running a small business is all about pursuing a dream, making your mark, finding new ways to get things done. Sprint understands, and they have some new ways to help your business succeed, like data services backed by guarantees. They call it the Sprint Small Business Promise. It says that their data services will be among the most reliable in the business. So reliable, in fact, that if the Sprint network goes down, even for a minute, you'll get 3 days of service free. Guaranteed. In short, it says that Sprint will be there for you 24/7, with data services designed specifically for small business and backed by unsurpassed guarantees. For your guarantees, call 1-800-527-4494.
Do it by December 31st, and they'll throw in a Cisco router worth $3,400.
So go on, invent a new product, change an entire industry, shake up the world. Just know that Sprint has you covered. Guaranteed.
Next February, we've got the home snow. The Winter Olympics in our house, Salt Lake City, 2002. See it on the networks of NBC.
To advertise within the 2002 Olympic Games, call AT&T Media Services at 503-535-6120.
There's one brand of truck strong enough to carry the American spirit, Chevrolet. And right now, get 0% financing on every new truck we build. Silverado, Tahoe, Suburban, Trailblazer. The trucks behind a country that never quits. And you can own one, interest-free. Keep America rolling. See your local Chevy dealer today.
First, there were reports of Osama bin Laden saying he has weapons of mass destruction. Now, there's word his al-Qaeda network has a formula for ricin, one of the deadliest known poisons. Joining us to talk about that and more is Scott Ritter, former UN weapons inspector, former U.S. Marine major, and Fox News military analyst. Scott, good to see you.
Thanks. Good to be here.
First, let's talk about Osama bin Laden bragging that he has some nuclear weapons. Seems like a lot of people believe him. Do you?
No, absolutely not. Nuclear weapons are very difficult to manufacture. It requires access to extremely high levels of technology, billions and billions of dollars of infrastructure. It's simply something that I don't believe he could get his hands on.
But doesn't he have a lot of money? Doesn't he have a lot of money?
I just don't see him having these facilities in place in Afghanistan.
Even though he has a lot of money and he certainly has the will?
He doesn't have that much money. I mean, talks of him having $350 million, that doesn't even begin to scratch what's required to put together a viable nuclear weapons program.
And Scott, shoot down another report then for me. A London Times saying that an al-Qaeda building that was destroyed had some documents with plans to make nuclear weapons.
Well, I can go on the internet right now and download plans to make nuclear weapons. That doesn't mean that Scott Ritter has a nuclear weapons program in his house. Nuclear weapons are not made in your backyard. You require modern facilities, extreme levels of technology, a lot of time, a lot of money. Frankly speaking, that doesn't exist either in al-Qaeda or in Afghanistan.
Well, that's really reassuring to hear. But now, if we didn't continue our bombing campaign over there, do you think he would continue to try to make them?
I think, look, you have a bunch of amateur weapons of mass destruction proliferators who are looking for new ways to kill people, and they think that weapons of mass destruction might give them that edge. But just because they desire to have these weapons and access to this technology doesn't mean they're going to get it. It's very difficult to do.
Mm-hmm. What about ricin, one of the older ways, I guess, of killing people? Do you think he might have access to that?
Well, ricin's a different, ricin could be extracted from the castor bean. That's how Iraq was producing ricin. and it's possible to produce small levels of ricin, in very primitive laboratories. Sure, but that's not a weapon of mass destruction. It's a very deadly toxin, but you have to basically get it inside the body through a cut. The Russians used ricin to assassinate people by putting it on tiny pellets and shooting them, but it's not an effective weapon of mass destruction. It's not an effective military weapon.
So if you don't think that either of those things that we've been discussing were ways for him to strike us, what do you think the biggest danger is? How might he be able to get us?
Well, look, if indeed Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda maintain an active capability here in the United States, in Europe, or abroad outside of Afghanistan, I think that they'll resort to the traditional ways that they've used in the past. High explosive attacks. These have proven to be very effective in the past. They were extremely effective, tragically so, on September 11th. And that seems to be the most likely venue that these terrorists would choose to strike back at America.
And Scott, different topic sort of, Iraq, Saddam Hussein. Is now the time to go after him as well?
Well, no, I don't think this is the time to go after him. I think we should stay focused on solving the problem that we are facing in Afghanistan. Let's finish the business of eliminating al-Qaeda first. We have a coalition put together that appears to be effective in achieving this objective. And then once that's done, let's ascertain what the threat Iraq poses. And if the determination is made that Iraq indeed poses a threat, let's build a coalition. Let's go at it in a methodology, in a well-paced manner. Let's not rush into this. Iraq's not going away, and let's make sure that if we are going to go after Iraq, we do it right.
You think we'll be able to get weapons inspectors back in?
I hope we do. I think that should be our #1 objective, getting weapons inspectors back in. I would put that above getting rid of even Saddam Hussein. That's a much more important aspect of preserving international security.
Easier or harder to do in light of the current campaign?
Well, in my opinion, it's much easier to talk about getting weapons inspectors back in. We can generate international support for that objective. Once we start talking about regime removal, not only do I think that it's highly unlikely we'll be able to cobble together a plan that would be viable, I just don't think that there's going to be any sort of consensus in the international community for a plan of regime removal.
All right. Scott Ritter, former UN weapons inspector, Fox News military analyst, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Coming up on Fox, America is on high alert, staying cautious, vigilant for any signs of terrorist activity. What's being done to keep your city safe? We'll talk with the mayors of some of our nation's big cities. Also, by land, by air, by sea, the National Guard already watching over our nation's airports, now being called in to protect Florida's coast. We'll tell you why next on Fox News Channel.
Totally new Nissan Altima.
Wouldn't it be nice to think that lowering your cholesterol...
Nothing to it.
Was this easy? Well, think again. And start thinking about Oatmeal Crisp. As part of a low-fat diet, it may help lower your cholesterol. And its plump raisins and crispy flakes with a touch of brown sugar are a really delicious way to do it. So quit dreaming. Wake up to Oatmeal Crisp and help bring down cholesterol.
Behold the empty office of David Compton, small business owner. Empty because Mr. Compton got QuickBooks, got his accounting done faster and easier, and got back to what he started his business to do. See what QuickBooks, the #1 selling accounting software, can do for your small business. It's easy to set up, learn, and use. You don't have to know accounting, and simple step-by-step instructions will have you saving time right away. You'll even fill in familiar forms, like invoices and checks, on screen. Call 1-800-586-3390 now, and we'll send you a free, fully functional trial of QuickBooks. Try it for yourself, risk-free. See how QuickBooks tracks who owes you money, who you owe, and easily creates graphs and reports detailing it all in one place.
So why wait? Join the over 2 million small businesses saving time with QuickBooks. Call 1-800-586-3390 now or visit us online for your free trial software. There's no risk. Even the shipping's on us. Faster, easier accounting is just a phone call away.
This weekend, more live reports, more hard news, more of the powerful primetime coverage you trust.
Let's roll.
Saturday, one man, one mission.
To be skeptical and demand answers.
A special edition of the O'Reilly Factor. And
our disagreements will not divide us as nations.
But some say America's playing Russian roulette on the next Judith Regan tonight. Minute by minute, move by move, it's where the global markets and the national economy take center stage. Watch Neil Cavuto and the #1 business news team, Fox News Channel, the network America trusts.
Bottom of the hour now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Bridget Quinn. Here are the latest developments for you in the war on terror. Where in the world is Osama bin Laden? Earlier, Al Jazeera TV quoted the Taliban ambassador to Pakistan as saying the terror kingpin had left Afghanistan for an undisclosed location, but now Mullah Abdul Zaif is telling reporters that bin Laden is still in Afghanistan. He just doesn't know where. The Pentagon says we're still looking for him in Afghanistan. The ousted Afghan president says he is back in control. Burhanuddin Rabbani has declared himself the legitimate leader. He has returned to Kabul for the first time since 1996 when he was overthrown by the Taliban. The Taliban confirms that Muhammad Atef is one of 8 al-Qaeda leaders killed in recent U.S. airstrikes. Fox News has learned U.S. intelligence learned about Atef's death after intercepting phone calls of people who said they saw his body in the wreckage. And a first for a First Lady. Laura Bush delivered the weekly presidential radio address this morning. Her focus, the Taliban's brutal treatment of women and children in Afghanistan. Protecting the home front now. Lots of attention directed toward the skies these days, but there's another big concern. It travels much slower and much lower than an airplane, but the results of an attack could be just as deadly.
All right, we're going to break you into 3 equal groups.
In Florida, part-time soldiers are on the full-time front line of seaport security as America's war on terrorism grows. 14 deep-water docking stations make up the Sunshine State seaboard. 4 are considered major by U.S. officials and under new orders to protect cargo vessels carrying highly explosive materials and cruise ships carrying tourists in the wake of the September 11th attacks.
We're here to be a visible deterrent to those who would do our citizens harm. We are not here to replace the existing security personnel.
Last year, Florida seaports were some of the busiest in the world, pulling in $75 billion in ocean cargo accounts. A big chunk of that includes imported gasoline and jet fuel, which arrives at Port Everglades in Broward County. And now, under a very public and political microscope, Florida Governor Jeb Bush has activated more than 300 National Guard troops to protect the ports.
We are a huge cruise port. We are a huge container port, and we are a colossal petroleum port. What this means is that we could be a potential target.
Along the eastern seaboard, ports in Boston, New York, and Savannah, Georgia now share the same concerns as a new wave of citizen soldiers join the nearly 7,000 National Guard troops already at airports nationwide.
I think it's great because we feel secure, we're safe, and that's what it's all about, being safe.
That call to safety also prompted the Coast Guard to create nearly 100 security zones nationwide, along with an increased presence in the air, making this the largest port security operation since World War II. In Miami, Orlando Salinas, Fox News.
Homeland Security, of course, a huge concern these days. Cities doing just about everything they can to keep you safe. Joining us, Rocky Anderson, mayor of Salt Lake City, where the Olympics are less than 100 days away. Dr. Willie Harrington, mayor of Memphis, scene of many a big public party. And Mark Morial, mayor of New Orleans, where in addition to Mardi Gras, they are going to be hosting the Super Bowl this year. Gentlemen, you certainly all have a lot ahead of you. Let me start with you, Mayor Anderson, since your event seems to be coming up very, very quickly. Are you ready for the Olympics?
We are. There's a lot more that needs to be done, but we have been planning for a long time, and certainly in terms of security have been ramping up since the events of September 11th.
How do you make sure that people can get into the events without having to wait so many hours to get in? We saw a little bit of that here in New York with people trying to get into the World Series games at Yankee Stadium.
Right. Well, we've had enough time, I think, to plan so that we've got good transportation planning. And then also, we're going to have several secured areas with the fencing, the jersey barriers, and the magnetometers. And we're also restricting people so that they won't be bringing in things like backpacks and large bags that we'll have to be searching.
Mayor Morial, same question to you about the Super Bowl.
We're ready, and we have a first-class security plan in the works. I think you'll see unprecedented security for not only the Super Bowl, but we also host the Sugar Bowl, Mardi Gras. We'll be hosting a football game next week known as the Bayou Classic. So we've got many, many events. And we're going to make sure that people who visit here, who attend these games, our residents alike, are safe. We're going much farther than we've gone in the past to ensure that security is visible, and also that we have an appropriate public health response system in place, and our fire department will be on high alert.
How do you provide security for something like Mardi Gras?
Well, you know, Mardi Gras is interesting. It's a festive crowd. It's usually a well-behaved crowd. The track record we have for Mardi Gras is extraordinary. I think you'll see probably additional visibility. I think you'll see some additional steps, perhaps a no-fly zone over Mardi Gras for the event. We're going to take every step necessary, and we're consulting with the very best experts available to ensure that Mardi Gras is safe. But the track record is great. No city can host a party for 2 million people, and they all have a good time, and they all get home safe like this city.
Dr. Harrington, maybe no Super Bowl, maybe no Mardi Gras, but as we said, plenty of big events in Memphis. Anything in particular coming up, and just in general, how is security in your city?
Well, let me say Memphis commenced its preparedness program in 1997. As you're probably aware, this is home of Graceland, Elvis Paradise, so we have millions of tourists who visit our city annually, and we feel reasonably confident that we have the abundance of security in place. We have a great emergency management system which coordinates with our fire department, our police department. We're in ongoing communications with all of the major officials here, our health systems. So we feel that we have a security plan in effect that will keep the citizenry safe.
I have a question for all three of you, and let me start with you, Dr. Harrington, this time. It strikes me when we hear these high alerts issued by the federal government, a lot of people say, hey, you know, I can't be on any higher alert than I already am. Does it make a difference when you hear that? Again, let me start with you, Mayor Harrington.
I think it does. You know, I've served this city as mayor for 10 years. And let me honestly say that this is the first time in a decade that our community has been on a high alert status for terrorist behavior. I mean, we're spending an abundance of resources for police protection. We've beefed up protections around all of our assets, our water resource centers. I think you're well aware of the fact that Memphis is the headquarters for Federal Express. We're the largest air cargo destination center in the world. So we are exercising an abundance of precaution at all of our critical assets.
Mayor Anderson, how about your city? Do you crank it up a notch? And when you do you think people appreciate it or what?
I think people do appreciate it, and I think especially now with this new federal legislation relating to our airports, people in this country are very willing to go through a little more inconvenience to make certain that, for instance, all loaded luggage has been screened. So I think people have been very receptive to these additional security precautions, and even if it costs a little more, even if it causes a little more inconvenience, I think people understand these are extraordinary times, and the leaders in all of our cities, I know the mayors have been very, very responsive to the challenges that we're facing now. And we met in Washington a couple of weeks ago. Mayor Morial convened an emergency meeting, and I think that has already really resulted in some good legislation in terms of airport security.
Mayor Morial, let me go to you last here. Do you think that the alerts make a difference?
Yeah,
and how do you think people feel about them? I mean,
we've got to accept the fact that we're going to remain on high alert, that our police, our fire, our public health systems are going to remain on high alert, and also that our citizens are going to have to remain vigilant. I think we all welcome the fact that the federal government was willing to communicate with the public, even if the information they provided was non-specific.
Right.
But I think what we should view now as our challenge is that we have to remain on high alert. The world we live in, the cities we live in, the concerns we have, they've definitely changed.
And you don't think people will mind even, you know, maybe not getting into the Super Bowl as quickly as they would like, or maybe seeing a slightly different Mardi Gras?
I think people understand that patience is indeed a virtue, and that it means getting to airports a little earlier, getting to special events a little earlier, and I see a resolve by people to put up with some inconveniences.
All right.
Because that inconvenience is balanced against everyone's personal safety and security.
All right, gentlemen, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Straight ahead, more on security. The letter Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy did not want to receive. We'll tell you all about that straight ahead. Also, are some companies trying to take advantage of you for trying to protect yourself against anthrax? Stay tuned for a fair and balanced report.
He put us on the holiday mission. It's almost like he doesn't like us.
Not me.
You, on a reconnaissance mission gone wrong. An American pilot will become a pawn in a game played by superpowers.
Evade and survive.
Now, his only chance is the one force that can bring him back.
The American people want their pilot. You will lose your command. So be it. Let's get our boy back.
Behind Enemy Lines. Rated PG-13. November 30th, only in theaters.
When I start each morning. When my kids need a playmate.
Prozac Weekly is here. Ask your doctor if it's right for you. For a limited time, you can try Prozac Weekly for 1 month free. Visit freemonth.webmd.com to learn more and print out your coupon from Prozac Weekly. Talk to your doctor today to see if Prozac Weekly could be right for you. Prozac Weekly is here.
Cancer. The doctor walked into the room and said, "You have cancer, and it's inoperable. You have only 6 months to live." So I turned to my wife and said, 33 years together is not enough. So I decided to fight, and I started looking for options. Our daughter, who is a nurse, told me about Cancer Treatment Centers of America. It's like no hospital you've ever seen. They treated me, the whole person, not just my tumor, with the latest medical technology, nutrition, and supplements to stimulate my immune system to fight my cancer.
To find out about alternative treatment options at our hospitals, call toll-free 1-800-234-5021.
It's been 7 years now. I beat cancer, and so can you.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America, winning the fight against cancer every day.
Anthrax attacks might have lots of Americans worried about opening their mail nowadays, so no surprise that some companies are coming forward saying they can help. But are they really just trying to cash in on fear? Fox correspondent Steve Brown taking a look.
Anthrax is now a business.
It keeps the contaminants out.
Sparks Technology is one of the countless companies offering anthrax defense devices. Theirs is an airtight room with a filtering system the company says removes anthrax spores, deadly gases, even nuclear fallout dust. Prices start at $14,000.
Actually, we haven't sold any.
And especially on the internet, there is an explosion of goods supposedly ready to defend you from anthrax. But there are so many, the nation's consumer watchdog, the Federal Trade Commission, is having a tough time just keeping up.
This is a top priority for us. We're going to look at as many of these as we possibly can.
We also ran across this device, the Safe Sorter from Bliss Industries in California, in case you believe you received an anthrax-laced letter. We found two problems with this device. For starters, it was very difficult opening the mail. And the other problem.
How do you get the mail in there in the first place?
And in North Carolina, Vital Living Products is having its new anthrax home testing kit tested itself by a Food and Drug Administration approved lab.
For security reasons, we're not divulging the name of the lab.
Although the company's CEO admits the FDA does not oversee products like this. And with more anthrax products coming out almost daily, consumer protection groups warn that American consumers may need to arm themselves with common sense before they buy.
That looks tough.
In Chicago, Steve Brown, Fox News.
Investigators are saying they didn't think the letter sent to Tom Daschle was the only anthrax-tainted letter in D.C., and now they might have found what they were looking for. Fox's Brian Wilson joining us with the very latest from Washington. Brian?
Hello, Bridget. You know, just when you thought the anthrax scare was passing, here comes more anthrax news. A second letter. Take a look at it. If you've been following this story, it will seem vaguely familiar to you. It is almost identical to the anthrax letter addressed to Senator Tom Daschle. It has the same handwriting. Here first is the Daschle letter. The new letter is postmarked, as this one is, October 9th. Trenton, New Jersey. But as you see, this new letter was addressed to Senator Patrick Leahy, who spoke with reporters this morning from Capitol Hill.
I'm hoping that the one bright light in all of this might be that this letter will give us further evidence to find out who is doing this. Without any specialized knowledge, I tend to agree with the estimation that the FBI and the police have made that this is the actions of somebody within this country who is acting out.
Now, the FBI found the letter yesterday as it searched through 280 barrels of previously quarantined Capitol Hill mail. The envelope has been sent to Fort Detrick, Maryland for further testing, and the FBI continues to ask for help in this investigation.
We believe there's someone out in the country somewhere that may have information, that may have mentored, may be aware of what this person is doing, may have a little piece of information that would help complete the puzzle for us.
Capitol Hill, meanwhile, closing down the Russell and Dirksen buildings so they can go back, double-check a couple of mailroom facilities. This is said to be a precaution and really shouldn't be too big of a problem since Congress is out for the Thanksgiving holiday. But the Hart Office building, where the Daschle letter was open, has been closed since October 17th, 1 month. The cleanup continues there, but now officials say they don't know exactly how long it will take to reopen that building and make it safe. Bridget, back to you.
Brian Wilson, thank you. And straight ahead, the situation is getting desperate at the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. We'll tell you why coming up. Also, in the midst of all the grief after the 9/11 terror attacks, one customs agent might have given us something to be grateful for. That's all still to come on Fox News Channel's continuing coverage of the War on Terror.
Buying or selling a home? RE/MAX agents lighten that load. Averaging more than 13 years experience, they work the kind of practical magic that sets you free. RE/MAX.
The tragedy of September 11th was meant to cause fear among all Americans, including our children. We can't let that happen. Talk with your kids. Listen to them. Tell them that they are safe and that they are loved.
It's that time of the year, we got a way to do the season with a little more cheer.
AT&T Broadband Internet Service. Order now and get 2 free months of service when you buy our modem, plus free basic installation.
With no dial-up and lightning speed, you better believe it's all the internet you'll ever need. With email, chat, and MP3s, even watch some videos and send them off at great ease.
High-speed cable internet service from AT&T Broadband. Order now and get a great deal.
AT&T Broadband. 'Tis the season to believe.
There's one brand of truck strong enough to carry the American spirit, Chevrolet. And right now, get 0% financing on every new truck we build. Silverado, Tahoe, Suburban, Trailblazer, the trucks behind a country that never quits. And you can own one, interest-free. Keep America rolling. See your local Chevy dealer today.
Look what's on HSN this week. Suzanne Summers Fitness, jewelry in summer size. Wolfgang Puck's Bistro Cookware Collection. Susan Lucci's fashion accessories and fragrance. Serious skincare with Jennifer Flavin Stallone. And NFL Shop with official NFL merchandise from every team. Shop conveniently from home this holiday season. HSN, on TV and online.
Taking care of your skin is important, and Faces Unlimited on Northwest 23rd can make it simple. Our goal since 1977 is to give you the best possible skin you can have. Our staff is knowledgeable and friendly and will determine the best treatment for you in a free consultation. We cater to all ages and are up to date on the newest technologies and treatments. And we provide skincare products for every skin type and ethnicity. Call or come in today to schedule a free consultation or visit our website at facesunlimited.com.
Have some new Fox News Opinion Dynamics polls. Here's a little bit of what you think. So who comes closer to your idea of what a First Lady should be? Of course, First Lady just giving the presidential radio address today. Laura Bush, 56%. No contest there. Hillary Clinton, 26%. Should we suspend military action during Muslim religious holidays? Of course, everybody's been talking about whether the bombing campaign should cease during Ramadan. The answer, yes, 13%, no, 80%. Apparently, people want the campaign to continue. And how is the U.S. military action being conducted? 87% of Americans approve, only 6% disapprove. More from overseas now. Thousands of Afghan refugees are still trying to get out of the country, but border patrols in Pakistan are keeping the passageways locked up tight. Fox News correspondent Mike Tobin is at the border in Quetta, Pakistan with this report.
The situation has become very frustrating for the Afghans trying to flee Afghanistan and make their way into Pakistan. The authorities out here say about 10,000 of them are arriving at the border here every day, but the authorities say none of the Afghans are getting through. The frustration manifested itself in a brief rock-throwing melee. Some of us in the press were struck by the rocks. Then the military police started throwing rocks back at the Afghans. They scrambled for a little while and things calmed down, but not before a bunch of the fleeing displaced Afghans jumped over a gate and tried to run for the Pakistani border. Now, about 60 miles behind me here in the city of Kandahar, the situation is still very uncertain. The Pashtun tribespeople say they have delegates in there trying to negotiate a pathway to a peaceful new government, but they know there's a possibility that that may not happen. So what they are doing is surrounding the city. They're prepared to move in and eliminate what remains of the Taliban if they can't negotiate their way to a new government. At the Pakistan-Afghan border, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
Stopping terror in its tracks now. Life would be probably very different today if we had caught the 9/11 terrorists before they attacked. Well, just prior to the big millennium, we did nab a would-be terrorist red-handed, and it's all thanks to one smart customs agent who might have saved hundreds of lives. John Dupree reports.
It's been almost 2 years since U.S. Customs agents at this small northwest border checkpoint stopped an Algerian terrorist named Ahmad Rassam. He was on the last ferry from Canada.
I thought he could understand me because he answered my questions appropriately, but he only gave me one-word answers. He wasn't forthcoming with any kind of information that would tell me who he was or what he was doing or, why he was coming to the country.
Diana Dean is the customs agent who first questioned Rassam. She says he wasn't sweating but seemed nervous and agitated. She ordered a search of his car, where inspectors found what they thought were drugs.
It was just a routine customs secondary inspection, but we knew that he was certainly up to no good.
It turns out the trunk was full of 113 pounds of bomb-making materials and timing devices, which experts demonstrated could have been devastating. Since his conviction here in Los Angeles last April, Ahmed Rassam has been providing authorities with detailed information about his training in Afghan terror camps. But the customs agents who caught him remember a suspect who was anything but cooperative.
I saw something in his eyes which was, I don't care, and he turned his back and continued to run.
Mike Chapman helped capture Rassam. Since that fateful night, he's become a county commissioner.
When he was taken into custody, you know, most people that are taken into custody want to talk or want to cooperate, or he was cool. He was motionless.
Still on the nation's first line of defense, Diana Dean is still asking routine questions, but maybe with a little more vigilance than usual.
You want to take a closer look at it, and I think that's true for the citizen on the street, too. Just be more aware of our surroundings and report anything that looks suspicious to you.
In Los Angeles, John Dupree, Fox News.
The American Red Cross is now saying thanks, but no thanks to new donations for victims of 9/11. And after weeks of controversy, this week they promised to send every dollar already donated directly to the people for whom it was intended.
I think this is a good lesson both for the Red Cross and for the donating public.
Better late than never, according to charity watchdog groups. The Red Cross's new decision to now spend every dollar donated to its Liberty Fund on victims of the 9/11 attacks. That's $543 million, and it's a reversal of the group's original plan to spend almost half of the money on other causes totally unrelated to September 11th.
I think that what we regret the most at the Red Cross is the fact that, you know, it took us a few weeks to really listen, and I think we need to listen faster and better next time around.
The move will keep New York's Attorney General from taking legal action to stop the Red Cross from using the donated money for anything other than victim aid.
It was very clear the public had intended that these funds be used for the benefit of victims, and to use them for any other purpose would be a violation of that intent. And the Red Cross made the right decision. I applaud them for it.
Families affected by the attacks on the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and the crash in Pennsylvania will now get a full year's worth of living expenses from the Red Cross instead of just 3 months. And the money will be paid out by January. Help is on the way for those who need it, and for those who gave.
People will have some healthy skepticism, and they will ask questions and want to know more before they give, because people can exponentially increase the good of their contributions just by taking some time to find out how the money will be spent.
In New York, Rick Folbaum, Fox News.
And that does it for this hour. I'm Bridget Quinn. Thanks a lot for joining us. Keep it right here, because Fox News Channel's coverage of the War on Terror continues in just a moment.
What would you do if someone passed you the keys to a Pontiac Grand Prix for a week?
I'm out, man. Let's go.
I'm out to see the world. San Francisco, here we go.
Are we having fun yet? Doesn't take much to have fun, does it?
Man, this is like riding on a surfboard.
You're gonna have to call me Dixie if I wear this.
All right, Dixie.
I can smell the salt water from here. Give us a swell, baby. So what would you do with the Pontiac Grand Prix? Tell us, Pontiac.com.
There's some good surf out there.
Mr. Smith, your wife called to remind you to send your son's tuition check.
Yeah, this is the roofing company. The estimate to replace your roof is $12,000.
Bob, this is your stockbroker. You really need to call me right away.
Need fast cash for some big bills? Apply for a second mortgage with a no closing cost option from Ditech.com. Use the cash for any purpose and end up with one low monthly payment. Apply online or call now, 1-800-71-FIXED.
This holiday season, the compact Presario 5000 TPC will come bearing gifts, like a free color printer, a $50 instant rebate, and free shipping. Not to mention a powerful Intel Pentium 4 processor and Microsoft Windows XP Home Edition, all for just $849. And you don't even need to travel afar. Call 1-800-332-1780 to buy now. You'll get one great PC and 3 great gifts.
Ions for hair. Ionic technology. Now, ions work for VS Sassoon. Switch them off or on. Ions dry hair fast. Leave it healthy, moisturized. No frizz, just shine. Let VS Ions work for you. The Ion Dryer, from VS Sassoon to you.
This weekend, more live reports, more hard news, more of the powerful primetime coverage you trust. Let's roll. Saturday, one man, one mission.
To be skeptical and demand answers.
A special edition of the O'Reilly Factor. And
our disagreements will not divide us as nations.
But some say America's playing Russian roulette on the next Judith Regan Tonight. This weekend, our war on terrorism. Should we prepare for more military and political problems? Special guest Colin Powell. That's this weekend on Fox News Sunday. Check your local listings.
The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight. The Red Cross does a stunning turnabout, saying it will now donate all the money Americans gave it to the people affected by the 9/11 attacks. We'll have a report. Hollywood continues to be in an uproar over the Factor questioning the telethon stars. We'll have the latest on what Tom Hanks and Faith Hill are saying. An exclusive with the former CIA leader who knows bin Laden's outfit very well. Caution, you're about to enter a no-spin zone. Factor begins in 90 seconds.
Fox News Live, I'm Kieran Chetry with the latest developments now in the war on terror. U.S. military officials are doubting claims that Osama bin Laden left Afghanistan. A Taliban leader said earlier today the terrorist mastermind was no longer in the country, but then modified his statement saying that he's not in an area controlled by the Taliban. And the ousted president of Afghanistan has declared himself the country's new leader. Burhanuddin Rabbani returned to Kabul today for the first time since 1996. Rabbani is said to be committed to a multi-ethnic coalition government. And the UN is also renewing its call for an Afghan government that represents all of the country's tribes. UN Secretary General Kofi Annan says that a new government that's not accepted by everyone would be a problem in the future. A UN envoy has already arrived in Kabul to discuss the issue with Northern Alliance leaders. And Vermont Senator Patrick Leahy spoke out today saying he has no idea why someone would send him a letter apparently contaminated with anthrax. That letter has the very same handwriting and is postmarked from Trenton, New Jersey on the same date like the contaminated letter sent to Senator Tom Daschle. It was found among barrels of unopened quarantine mail that was sent to Capitol Hill. And that is our update for now. We'll be back again for you at the bottom of the hour. I'm Kieran Chetry. The O'Reilly Factor is up next.